All right, so we are here at Salt Lake Acting Company to see Fun Home.
Yeah, so Fun Home is actually, it's based on a graphic memoir of a woman and her really complicated relationship with her father. You know, and the show actually has some really hard-hitting themes. You know, it dives into gender roles and suicide and dysfunctional families, so some really, really hard-hitting themes. But you know, they're themes that they really need to be heard, and they handle it really well.
This story is an interesting one. Like I said, it's a coming-of-age story. It's a kind of figure out who you are, figure out who your parents are, figure out who the world around you is. We saw this one in New York City and just loved it.
Little known fact, the Fun Home is actually a funeral home.
Yeah.
You wouldn't expect that.
Right. So it's set in this Victorian home in Beach Creek, and whenever I picture this story in my brain, I always think of My Girl, the movie, because that's kind of what the setting is. It's set in a family-run funeral home. Kind of that funeral parlor, old school funeral parlor vibe. And I mean, it's this family growing up, and the dad is obviously the one, you know, running the funeral home, but the kids, you know, growing up in a funeral home, they learn how to cope and kind of what life is, and they do it while death surrounds them. And it's a very interesting take to hear the kids. They have this anthem in the show that they sing. It's almost this commercial for the funeral home or for the Fun Home. And so the kids call it Fun Home. So that's kind of where the name comes from for the show. You
know, ultimately, this is one of those shows about like discovering who you are and knowing your place in life and things like that. So I'm excited to see it here locally.
Yeah, this is one I'm really glad that it's coming to Salt Lake City. This is a story that needs to be told here. A really strong story. So we're gonna head in. So if you want to dive more into this story, check out this awesome podcast. It's called Broadway Backstory. It's hosted by Patrick Hines and sponsored by Today Ticks.
I love this podcast. It really seriously dives into all of my favorite shows and tells you where they came from, how they got to where they are. Just go subscribe right now.
Definitely worth checking out. We'll link it below. Alright, so we are just getting back from seeing Fun Home at Salt Lake Acting Company, and this was our first time going to this venue.
It was really different. It's actually like at an old church building. It was really neat.
Fun Home. So let's kick it off. What's your first good?
Honestly, the acting in the show was so powerful. I mean, it's just the way the show's written. You had to have amazing actors, and to me, the man who played the dad, he honestly, like, I feel like I could have seen him on Broadway. He was so strong, and I actually thought his voice was really strong. You could really see the inner turmoil that he had as a character. I just thought he did superb.
Absolutely. That's actually my first as well. His name is Benjamin Henderson. He's been in a lot of things locally here and got some wonderful education in the arts. He was wonderful. If you get a chance to check out the story, you'll see that this is not a simple character. This is layer upon layer upon layer, and those layers battle. We actually saw this on Broadway, and we saw this with Michael Cerveris, and he won the Tony for this role. And I mean, I don't want to throw this out lightly, but this guy stood right next to him in this role. I just can't say enough good things about Benjamin. I mean, he was just wonderful.
Yeah.
What's number two for you?
Number two, I know you love this song as well, so sorry if I'm stealing yours. The song in the show called Days and Days and Days, I thought the woman who sang it, I was bawling. I think Bobby even was like, are you okay? Like, I really felt the story, and I think it's not only because of the superb writing of the show, but the actress, despite some technical challenge that actually happened during the show, like some of the sound of the piano was off, and
yeah, there
were some issues, but I was just captivated by this woman and the song, and honestly, I was bawling.
So my number two, Haley Olenberg. She was wonderful. She played middle Allison. So the show is broken up with the same character over many years. So there's a young Allison and a college-age Allison, and then a 40-ish years old Allison, and they kind of switch between these moments in her life. But middle Allison, Haley, was wonderful. Like I said, we saw this on Broadway, and she was able to really capture some of the same, you know, feel that the, you know, the original girl from Broadway had. But not just that, she made it her own. She acted and she was excited and she was living all of these moments, and you could just feel it resonating from her. And she was just wonderful. Superb, superb actor.
Yeah. So my third, honestly, I love the number, the Come to the Fun Home. It's, you know, this show, it can be really heavy in places, and it touches a lot of really deep themes. And that number, it's all the kids in the house, and they sing about coming to the fun home, which is, it's basically a commercial for their dad's funeral parlor. And it's just this nice little light break, and the dancing is so fun. It's kind of like a throwback to the Jackson 5. I loved it, and I thought the kids did a great job.
My third is just the story overall. And this story is just one that needs to be told. I just can't say enough good things about this story.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of truth in this story, and there's a lot of heart in this story, and it's very raw, and it's definitely a great story. Yeah. Sorry, I get all excited. I could talk about the story all day.
Show. You know, normally this is the part where we talk about what we think an opportunity is, and to be honest with you, I really didn't find many places for opportunities here. There were a few technical glitches, and that happens in any live show, but for a local acting company, Salt Lake Acting Company, I was astounded by the production here. It's a beautiful show at a really neat venue we'd never tried out before, and I really think that you shouldn't miss it.
I don't see a lot of opportunity in this show either, but take the opportunity to go and see this show. Like I said, it's different, it's new, it's challenging a lot of things that we see in Utah. We don't normally see shows that have, you know, these themes or they discuss this content and things like that, but that's why you need to go. So the opportunity here is go.
Don't miss your opportunity.
Don't walk, but run and get your tickets and go check out Fun Home.
Don't throw away your shot.
Wrong show. Wrong show.
Yeah.
But what's up next for us is we're heading into Hamilton Week here in Salt Lake City. And I mean, it's kind of crazy to call it Hamilton Week, but that's what it is. I mean, this is the 10th city that's getting Hamilton, and it's going to be Hamilton everywhere for this next little bit. And like we've teased before, we're headed to opening night, and then we've got a little surprise. We're going to... I don't want to say what we're going to do. We got a surprise for you, so
stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Subscribe.
Definitely check out this show. Drop us a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks, guys.